There were clear warning signs about this young man, very clear.
Right.
He was on the police radar screen. He'd been disciplined at school, expelled, etc., etc., etc. What is it that we need to do to keep guns out of the hands of youngsters like this who are clearly troubled? Do we need to change the law? Do we need to put the onus on therapists and say, you've got to point this out? What do we do?
Stuart, you know, the first thing that everybody always wants to talk about when we have an unfortunate event like this, which is horrific. I've got 5 kids, and look, it breaks my heart every time we hear it. But what we always talk about is gun control, but we don't talk about what we're exposing our kids to. You know, you have Hollywood elites that jump out all the time, start saying gun control, yet they're making millions and billions off of exposing our kids to all types of violence in movies and glorifying violence through sex. And then they start talking about all these programs with, you know, the #1 seller of video games right now is Call of Duty for the last 9 years in a row. If you've ever watched that, you can see how much violence it exposes to them too. You take that and combine that with someone that has a touch of mental illness or is mentally ill, what do you expect is going to happen?
Okay.
We need to talk about a serious conversation of what we're exposing our kids to and why we keep letting this happen.
That's one part of the conversation, clearly.
Absolutely.
No question about it, Congressman.
Absolutely.
But there is another side. We have to do something, don't we, about guns in the hands of mentally unstable people. And I want to know how we stop that.
You know, mental illness is very hard. I'm not a doctor, but on our committee and Energy and Commerce with the health subcommittee that I sat on, we talk about mental illness all the time, and it's one of those things that's very, very difficult to diagnose and also to recognize. It comes with a stigma for some reason. You know, someone breaks their leg or cuts their face, that's an injury. If someone's got the flu, you can see it, a doctor can diagnose this. Mentally ill individuals, it comes with a stigma, and sometimes it's just something that's temporary that needs to be addressed, no doubt about it. But we, as a society, still have to have the larger conversation. Yes, there's mentally ill people, but what are we exposing our kids to at such a young age? I mean, I don't know, Stuart, if you've ever really, and I'm not trying to harp on this, but I'm very serious about it. I walked up to into my house one time, and my 2 boys, which are 12 and 13, was playing Call of Duty with my son, brother-in-law. And I've been exposed to that type of violence in my life before. And when you see that, it was so graphic, I literally took it out and don't allow my kids to play it anymore. But yet, we allow our kids to be exposed to it. And there's mentally ill individuals, adults and young kids, and we combine it and allow them to expose it to them because we call it entertainment. It's not right. Okay,
Congressman, earlier on this program, my colleague Pete Hegseth was a Fox News guy. He was on the show. He's still with me, as a matter of fact. And he was saying, look, what's wrong with arming some teachers, training some teachers in the use of firearms? What's wrong with putting armed guards in front of our schools? What do you say about that, sir?
You know, you can secure a place somewhat relatively easy if you control the entrance and the exit to buildings. If you can understand who's coming and who's going and limit the access that people have to it, I have no problem with that. But it can't just be somebody, a teacher that simply has a concealed carry permit. They need to go through training that law enforcement has, because there's a difference between shooting a target that's stationary and shooting a target with multiple people around. You got to understand where your target is and what lies on past it. And so why I agree with we have men and women that's in our classrooms that's capable. We have many of them that are ex-military, some that are even ex-law enforcement that's went through the training. Let them go through the training. I have absolutely no issue with that, but we should quit allowing our schools to be such a soft target. When you have a soft target or an easy target, that breeds violence to come in. If you can control it by simply putting someone saying, hey, this isn't going to be such an easy target, it'll, in my opinion, it'll eliminate a lot of this.
Hold on for a second, Congressman. Pete Hegseth with me now. Do you believe, I think you agree with the Congressman,
I do,
that they would act as a deterrent if young shooters like this knew that the end point was a gun in their face?
Well, that's the point, is deterrence.
That's right.
Absolutely. So, and you would, the Congressman's right, you absolutely have to apply training so the weapon is used properly. It's not bring your gun that you've had to work. It's a subset of people, and when that gunman knows that that football coach is not just a big dude, but a big dude with a firearm, he thinks twice.
Okay. I agree.